people are depressed. Yeah, like how can you be depressed? You're a human. You have the power to control your own will. How are you depressed? And what I think happens is when you cannot see a better future.
I can tell you exactly what happened. I can tell you exactly what happened.
What?
I quoted Andrew Carnegie a few minutes ago. He said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, begins at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Depression it starts out from ignorance, doubt, and worry. I got a chart, I show it. Doubt and worry is on the negative side of life. Understanding is on the positive side. Doubt and worry comes from ignorance. Understanding comes from knowledge. But you got to study to get it. Doubt and worry are a psychic disease. It's an intellectual exercise. They're using their intellectual factors to build a negative idea. And that's all they see. They take and internalize that, and they get emotionally involved with it. It goes from doubt and worry to fear. They've emotionalized the doubt or worry. It turns into fear. The fear is in the emotional mind, and the emotion must be expressed through the only instrument it can be expressed through the physical body. So it moves the body into a state we call anxiety. Anxiety is never expressed. Anxiety is suppressed. The suppression turns to depression. They bottle it up inside. They suppressed the fear, turns into depression. The depression turns into disease. The disease turns into decay. St. Clair Lewis was right. He said we don't die, we kill ourselves. Now what is the opposite of all that? You go from ignorance to doubt and worry, to fear, anxiety, suppression, depression, disease, disintegration. Go over on the other side. You go from understanding to an emotional state called faith. You just know it's going to move in form because you understand the law. Faith isn't believing in something you can't see. Strange thing about faith and fear, they both demand you believe something you can't see. Why would people choose fear over faith? Because they're ignorant. So you go from understanding to faith. The faith manifests on the physical plane, not as anxiety, as well-being. The well-being is not suppressed, it's expressed. And the expression turns to acceleration. You're building energy. That is because there's no disease, you're at ease. And that turns into creation, not disintegration. It's all a mental trick that they're building. Now they go to the doctor gives them Valium or some kind of drug to cool them out. He gets them numb, so they don't know what the hell they're doing. I can show anybody how to overcome depression, if they'll do it. But they gotta do it. And that's where repetition comes in.
Okay. So does anyone recognize Bob Proctor? No? Okay, so what I love most about, again, what he says, obviously kind of talks a lot about the breakdown there, but what I love most about what he says is the fact of faith and fear, and that they both demand that a person believe in something they cannot see, right? And it just reiterates that we do have a choice in what path you want to take, whether it is in understanding and trust and faith, or it's in the fear-based model of just worry and doubt. And oftentimes it's not in what's happening presently, right? In this present moment, it's oftentimes the things that we're creating, the scenarios, the situations, whether it's in our past or what we're thinking about in the future. It's not what's happening in our present moment, right? And so obviously you guys all know Maddie. Maddie, her story is incredible. So if you haven't, her story's up on the testimonial wall. And if you haven't read it, I encourage you to read it. Or when you're in next, to ask her. She's wonderful about sharing her story and being open with it. But Maddie is, her story, when she first started coming in, we were about 5 or 6 months into practice, and just even the whole way that she found us and even her trajectory here has just been a total God thing. But she came to us and she was obviously very unwell. She was facing just a lot of different diagnoses, symptoms. She was essentially bedridden at age 22, and just her days consisted, and again, it's kind of up on the wall, but her days consisted of going from appointment to appointment, doctor to doctor. And so when she came to us, we obviously, there was a lot going on. We just realized how dysregulated her nervous system was, right? And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. So we started getting her adjusted. multiple times a week, obviously, but even sometimes even 4 or 5 times a week. She just needs that repetition to really reset her nervous system. We started talking to her about nutrition and just trying to nourish her body at a cellular level to give it the energy it needed to heal, right? Just at the cellular level. We were talking to her about different products to swap out to reduce any sort of toxic load in her body. But I say this because even she will say, what really shifted things for Maddie and what really changed things in the trajectory of her care, for the first couple of months was very kind of like touch and go, would you say, right? It was very like we'd take a couple steps forward and then like 3 or 4 steps back, right? It was very like, man, we're getting there, and then all of a sudden we kind of fall back. And that's totally normal. But again, it's like she even remembers the day that Drew finally got through to her about her mindset. And it was like sitting down and just like we were dropping tidbits, but it was like, man, that day, like things clicked for her. And it was just the fact that like she was living in a constant state of fear. It was just the story she was telling herself, or the story that she picked up on from the doctors or the other people, or just like the symptoms she was having. It was just a constant state of fear. And so until she realized that, and until she realized the story she was telling herself wasn't serving her and her desired outcomes, and until she realized she could change that story, her progress was going to be touch and go, right? But the day that that happened, it truly was a light switch, like genuinely. And like, and not to say that it wasn't like, rainbows and butterflies ever since then. Like we've had our ups and downs, as we all do. We go through different seasons of life, but like it was a total turning point when she finally committed to like, okay, it has to start up here and here. Like, what am I telling myself, and what do I actually believe about my body and my capabilities? And so even just simple things, again, just like illustrate or just simple examples of like ourselves, even from a day-to-day basis. Like you might find at the end of the day your shoulders are literally up to your ears, right? You might have had a hard day at the job, or the children are crazy and like driving you crazy. I know I have those days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, my shoulders are up to here, my jaw has been clenched all day and I didn't even realize it. Maybe I have a tension headache because I'm just like holding all of this stress, right? Another example would be like if you are, under a lot of stress at work or financial stress, and you're up all night, you're just tossing and turning, and you're exhausted from the day, but like you can't sleep, and you think that you would, but like your mind is just going through scenarios in your head of like what ifs. Or if you are going on a trip and you're afraid of flying and you feel like your stomach is like twirling, like you might, come up this way or it might go down that way. Like you're not sure what's going to happen because you're having this stomach ache. And so those are not coincidences, right? Like it's your mind having a direct biological response, right? Like that's a literal direct. You're thinking about something, it's not actually happening right now, but you're having a physical response to it, right? And so this idea is that like the most incredible part is that if your mind can create dysfunction, disease, you know, um, yeah, any sort of like negative thing, your mind then can also create health, right? It can create ease in the body, it can create vitality and wholeness and wellness, right? So that's the idea that we're going for, right? And it is a big topic. We're going to try and cut it down here, but again, it's like it's a conversation that we believe our patients have to know in order to really see the type of outcomes that they desire for their health. So today we're going to go through just a quick breakdown. We're obviously going to go through the nervous system because that is the brilliance of the way that God created our body. We're going to go through how your thoughts and beliefs literally change your biology at a cellular level. And then, of course, we want you to walk away with just some simple tools and applications to that so that you can practice these things on a daily basis, not to add more stress to your life, but just to implement things that will kind of move the needle for yourselves and for your families. Sound like a plan? Awesome. So I'm gonna hand it over to Drew.
We'll start with definitions first. So, because we talk about regulating our nervous system, we tend to throw these grandiose terms and ideas out there. We'll keep it simple first and then go from there. So when we talk about the master control, I think about it so oftenly. I like analogies. I hope that they help. It's your brain sending messages down the spinal cord and out the nerves, telling all your organs how to function. And I remember I was in school and we were describing it like that, and you're like learning for the first time, and you're really like wordy about it. And there's this kid, and he was really smart, but he almost was kind of like snobby. And he was like, "Well, your heart beats by itself." It's like I looked at him and I got all nervous, and I realized, yes, your heart is autonomic, but how we think and function even affects how our heart beats faster. Like if you get thinking about like your day, I'm going to run a race, your heart rate picks up, right? That's how it's going to work. So your nervous system affects how every organ and how every cell and tissue functions. So when we say our nervous system, it's our brain sending messages down the spinal cord and out the nerves. And this is where I have to like control myself because I get going a little bit more than two. But it's sensory in the fact of like it's a two-way street. So it's your organs telling back to your brain, hey, I'm good, or hey, I'm stressed out. The more that those organs are stressed out, the more they can tell their brain that they need support and need help. And so that's why when you have people come in and they're dealing with whatever it might be, adrenal issues, hormone issues, thyroid issues, liver issues, it's like chiropractic is never designed to cure a liver disease or a liver dysfunction. But why I would recommend to get adjusted while you're doing that is those nerves that flow out to those organs need to function at their best for any healing to truly happen. Does that make sense? You can take all the supplements, all the whatever, but if your nervous system is in a state of fight or flight, good luck. So there's two branches, sympathetic and parasympathetic. You can get really, really nerdy about this, but the simplest way that I always think about this is your nervous system. With the sympathetic nervous system is your gas pedal. It's, I'm in a jungle, I see a lion. If you know me well enough, you know I'm not going to fight a lion. I need to run as fast as I can and evade said lion. Rest and digest is, okay, the lion, I've evaded the lion. I can actually slow down and eat food, digest, or rest, go to sleep, and not be in such a state of survival mode. Now we're not being chased by lions and tigers and bears. We are being chased by the stress of our modern day lives. And we wonder why we stay in this sympathetic state. Is that you're not doing anything wrong. It's actually quite normal, right? That's the normalized state of being in America, but we're not designed to stay in that stressed out mode. And then one thing that I want to go over tonight, and again, I need to reframe back a little bit, but like I think intentionality matters a lot. Meaning that like we tend to say, I'm stressed out, I have to go work out for this all to work out right. And then if we miss that workout, things tend to crumble that much more. Or like I ate something bad, and we live in that stress, and we put more stress on ourselves about what we consume or what we don't consume, and we live in that cycle. And it takes that like bottoming out for us to be like, oh crap, I've been living like that. Does that make sense? There's a friend in chiropractic school. I did my rotations, and one of my biggest ones in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and he was in Italy, so quite a contrast between the two places for that. And he was like, and he was saying what was so interesting though was that when you walk around the streets of a city in Italy, it's not everyone's like fit to some degree, but no one is like ripped or huge, and it's not a CrossFit gym and a juice studio around every corner or yoga or wherever you want to say. It's that people walk more. They tend to take life at ease and not be stuck in sympathetic mode. We wear that as a badge of honor. Oh, I'm too stressed out. I'm too worried. I can't not be in that state. And to slow down feels like a disrespect to yourself in a way. And that's a soft call out for myself too. Is like it's I have to be up early to do the workout, to do the thing, and then you wonder like I've just been stuck on that. And there's actually a lot of research that goes into when you go and people will go on vacation and they get sick on vacation. We want to blame the air in the airplane. We want to blame the new sheets in the hotel. We want to blame maybe more alcohol or less clear or like healthy water or whatever you want to say. But they say a lot of times is that we stay in this sympathetic mode all year round, and we finally go to a beach and we unwind, and our nervous system just crashes. Right? We want to blame the vacation for why we got sick, but as much as your body just was been so ratcheted up that it finally slows down and it's like, boom. Does that make sense? So the idea isn't to shove the brakes on and stay with the brakes and only be in parasympathetic, but to find the balance between the two and help your body actually regulate. You're going to hear me say that a lot, adapt and regulate and be prepared so that basically when we take things on, we don't allow it to overcome us. I feel like a lot of you guys, I talk to you guys about this so often, but reminders help a lot to know what we're actually shooting for and to not stay in this overly stressed out high cortisol mode. Does that make sense? I kind of noticed a little bit, but again, we a little soapbox moment for me is people go on social media and say these things that kind of they are fair, they're like half truths, and we tend to say cortisol is bad. Cortisol itself isn't bad; it's your body's response to stress. But too much of it is overwhelming. Does that make sense? We can't be low either. We can't just say we can't have cortisol. That's not what we're supposed to be either. We're supposed to be able to see a lion and respond to it. Obviously, that might be like a bill or a having to take your car over to Christian Brothers, whatever it might be, right? Those are the things that become overly anxious for us or overly stressed out and not allow us to function at our best. Make sense? Same thing goes for like as the whole like I always tell people it's like we get so busy in the holiday season, Thanksgiving to Christmas, and everyone's like it's where I'm the most, hey, stay on schedule, stay on pace. It's not to make you feel bad about missing an appointment or not. It's that when you are in a mode of stressed out about getting to all the holiday things and all the purchases and all the returns and all the travels, it's that we have to keep your nervous system regulated to do so and not just saying in this overly stressed out mode. Make sense? That's why, again, when the research goes to show that, and I'm going to get into in a second, but as you get into a state of rest and digest mode, chiropractic adjustments help you get to parasympathetic mode, help you find that regulation. And I love when people like you can see as they again they adapt to getting adjusted, their shoulders are a little different, literally different when they walk out, or they're breathing different through the adjustment, or people like some people respond a little bit differently than others too, but you hear them or you feel them sigh as they get adjusted. That's so cool. I think that's a physiological response to, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I needed this. Last thing on the nervous system, and then we'll get into this thing too. Research goes to show that less than 5% of your nerves are actually worried about pain. Less than 5%. The other 90 to 95% are focused on function. In chiropractic, we want to tell people, yeah, we fix pain and we fix that. I think it's really, really good for that. But if you're only solely focused on that 5% of pain removal, all the other function needs to come along with it. So you guys are everyone here is amazing patients. You do really well for yourself. But the reason why we get adjusted is not just simply like I have this pain or I don't have this pain, is that I want my body functioning at its most optimal. When we focus on how we can help your function improve, people take off. If we stay stuck in this transient pain mode, again, I don't want anyone in pain, but if we stay stuck in that mode, we wonder why we don't reach our actual goals overall. So we want to focus on the function part, not simply pain or no pain.
So if we take this a step further, that is like, again, the brilliance of the body is that you can toggle back and forth between the sympathetic and parasympathetic state. But for decades, we were taught that genes control everything, right? That they're the ones that control your passed down from your grandparents, to your parents, to you, to your offspring, that your genes will determine your outcomes, right? That if you have cancer or heart disease or diabetes, you're automatically more susceptible to that because that's what your grandparents had and your parents and so forth. But we wanted to introduce Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, and he actually, there's a book down here called The Biology of Belief, and he is a cellular biologist, and his research over the last how many decades really changed the game in the way that we understand genes and lifestyle, right? And so what he found is an understanding of how the mind actually does affect the biology. So what he found in his research is that your genes are your blueprint, right? They are the foundation. They're the blueprint of yes, you are passing those down to your offspring, but the key here is that your thoughts, your beliefs, and your perceptions, your perception of the world, the perception of your experiences are the contractors, meaning they're the ones that are going around telling what genes to turn on and what genes to turn off, essentially, right? And so yes, you can say the fact of like, well, it is in the genes because my parents had it and now I have it and my kid has it or whatever it is. And it's like the fact of the matter is, yes, you're passing down those genes, but unless you are aware, you're also passing down your thoughts, your beliefs, and your perceptions, right? Just based on being around your child, right? Like unless you're changing those patterns yourself, you're also just passing that down naturally. And so your grandparents to your parents to you, right? And so again, this is kind of the field of epigenetics, which is more of your lifestyle or your thought patterns and things like that are again being passed down and having a bigger effect on what actually what disease or not disease that you're going to have, so to speak. So if we take it a step further again, how does it actually work? Like how does like a thought turn into a biological response? So we're going to kind of go through there's a spectrum here of like a negative thought versus a positive thought, of course. But every thought that you think, and again, I don't even remember, how many thoughts do we have a day? I forget what the number is. Yeah. But you have thousands of thoughts a day, like literally just thousands, right? And there are some that are very fleeting. It's in one and out the other, and you hardly even know you have it. So the key is that the thought that you have that you attach a strong weight to or a strong emotion to will create a chemical cascade in your body. So what that means is that, again, there's a spectrum, but mostly it's you either attach more of a negative emotion to it, more of a fear-based emotion to it, or you're attaching more of a positive, empowering thought or emotion to it. So let's say, so if we go through this, let's say that you graduate college and you're going off, you accept a dream job, right? And you're going off, you sign a lease, you're headed to the city or wherever, and you're so excited about this job, right? And you get a couple months into the job and you realize that you're like, I hate it, right? Like I feel like my coworkers suck, like they're not supportive. You know what I mean? Like it's just like your boss is very distant, you're not getting any feedback, and you're like, oh my gosh, what if I picked the wrong career? What if I don't actually like what I just studied the last 4 years for? What if this is just not my calling? What if my boss hates me, and what if I get fired? And then you go down the whole spiral of like, I was depending on this paycheck, and how embarrassing would it be if I get fired, and what would I tell my parents? And you know what I mean? Like it's just like a whole spiral. And so that's obviously more of a negative fear-based thought pattern. And so what happens, again, that's the thought. And what happens physically is that your brain then releases a stress hormone, or your stress hormones, which he was talking about, your cortisol and your adrenaline. So those are known as your stress hormones. And so those travel through your bloodstream. They're going to reach all of your cells, and they're basically going to signal to your cells danger. We're in threat. Again, it's kind of like that lion thing where it's like we're going into protection mode. So shut everything down that's like absolutely not necessary, and only concentrate on like quick blood flow, quick energy to get us through this like threat or danger. And again, like Drew was talking about, it's a matter of like if you stay there acutely or if it becomes a chronic thing. Like, can you recognize that you are in this state of like protection? And can you recognize like, okay, I'm not actually in a life-threatening situation right now? And can you shift back into like, I'm gonna figure this out, like I'm okay, it'll work itself out, I will figure something out, and you can move back into safety. So that would be more of a negative fear-based thought pattern and what actually happens biologically at a cellular level. So if you flip that and do a more positive, so again, same situation where you go off and you get this job and you love it, right? You find great friends, you have great connections, you feel like you've definitely picked the right career, you're very passionate about what you do, your boss is awesome, and you're like, hey, I might even get a raise soon, like I might get promoted, like this is awesome. That's obviously more of a positive outlook on that. And so what your body is going to do then in that situation or in that type of thought is going to release your healing hormones or your feel good hormones, which again are your oxytocin, your endorphins, your dopamine. Those are your healing hormones, right? So those are going to then be submitted or sent through your bloodstream and signal to your cells safety, right? And so that is going to open your cells to possibility. It's going to literally open to expansion. Like your body is open to growth. It's open to healing, like accelerated healing and repair. It's open to literally life itself, like figuratively and literally. Like you're open. Your fertility, your reproduction is more. You're open to life and bringing life into the world, and just again figuratively, you're open to the possibility of life. And it's exciting, not daunting. So again, that's kind of the spectrum. But every thought that you have to not in like a scary way, but you have to think about like, okay, what it's creating a chemical cascade in my body based on how much weight of emotion I'm putting on that thought. And another simple example of this would be, and obviously you can put in your own, scenarios that you kind of like things that come up more in your life. But the placebo effect is another like easy, understandable demonstration of this, where they do a clinical trial or a study, and there's a patient that thinks that they're taking some sort of medication. They think they're taking some sort of protocol, or they have a fake incision, and they have a positive outcome when they're only taking a sugar pill. But at the end of the trial, they have positive biological markers. They have decreased pain, they have no symptoms. It's a miracle, right? But in reality, it's like, well, what actually changed? The only thing that changed was their belief that their body was capable of healing, right? Like it was literally a sugar pill, or it was a fake incision, or whatever it was. And so the only thing that changed was the belief that their body was capable of healing, right? And the same can go for the negative side of the placebo effect of, I forget what it's called, I don't know, but
the placebo effect, yeah.
Yeah.
And just to jump in really quickly, but one thing they research with this is when we do this, it's that we're actually letting go of the outcomes, and that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people. is that, and you can get your, everyone's personal faith into this too, but you're holding on to the outcomes that I need this to calm me down. That's counterintuitive to how a meditation or how something should work, and we'll go into that in a second. But like that's counterintuitive to how it should work, right? You're releasing your body's capability to improve, to be healthy, to act as it should. You're not holding on for dear life, hoping this is the one thing that's going to get it all together. Then too, so the placebo effect is just actually believing believing in yourself, believing in your higher power, believing Christian, believing in God, that your body's capable of something, not just I have to do this for myself.
Control.
Yes.
So yeah, just to finish off that, like it just goes to show again, the thoughts that you have and the story that you tell yourself does matter. And you can apply that to your health. Like again, we're kind of specifically talking about your health, but you can apply it to your relationships, you can apply it to your career, you can apply it to your finances, whatever it is. But the story and the narrative that you're telling yourself has a direct biological response, right? Like your cells are listening to your thoughts and they're responding accordingly. And that's the genius of the body. Like that's genius, the way that God created our body to literally the mind, body, and spirit have to be in harmony to really see the fullness of life, if that makes sense. So, if I want to take it a step further, I forgot about the subconscious mind. So if we do take it a step further, they talk about how 95% of your behavior is and biology is controlled by your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is obviously a collection of your programmed beliefs, right? And especially in the first 7 years of life. So again, it's your collection of programmed beliefs in the first 7 years of life. And not to say that like at 7 years it's just done, right? But that's just what research shows. And as a parent, like when I hear that and know that, like there's a part of me that's terrifying, right? Like if I'm being honest, it's like, holy cow, like I am going to mess these children up. You know what I mean? It's like, oh wow. And then there's a part that's very empowering where it's like you have the influence to then change their viewpoint on life or their outlook on life. And so there's there's that choice of like, how do I want to view that? Do I want to view that in a terrifying way of like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, like I was not, or do I want to look at it of like, oh my gosh, I totally got this, God made these my children for a reason, and I am now aware to the way I was programmed or the way I was wired or the way I was raised, and how what parts do I want to hand down and what parts do I want to change, you know what I mean? And so there's a part that is encouraging, and like we do have a say in what our children take in. And there was something else. Do I want to go? Should I finish that Bob Proctor video? He basically says, like he does say something about the subconscious in there. But basically it's like, yes, like when you are conceived, it's mom and dad come together. And when you're born 280 days later, your subconscious is open, right? You are a blank canvas. You are absolutely like, you are ready to take on the world, and it's not biased to negative. It's not biased to positive. You are just open, right? And so again, it comes back to the fact of like your thoughts, your beliefs, and your perceptions are what's being programmed in you for the first 7 years of life. And so like your subconscious is open and a blank canvas. And so as parents, again, you have to be aware, and even us, like again, you can kind of look back on your own life and like, how were you programmed? How were your parents? Like what did they pass down to you? And so your subconscious is automatically running. And again, that can be daunting, but you also realize that all it takes is being aware. And again, there's some time and there's some work that needs to be done, but like just becoming aware, and then that repetition of wanting to change what might be in your subconscious mind, that's programming your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors then moving forward. So
just to brag on our so we have a 7-year-old, so as you say those numbers,
yeah,
you
I'm like,
think
it's
of our
done.
7-year-old, he just turned
He's
7.
set.
and so what's cool though is that like you just try and speak life on him all the time, and you're just hoping that he gets it, right? Speaking empowering words and all of that. And I nearly cried, and it wasn't supposed to be sad. It was actually really beautiful, but he was just like how you actually view if you're sick or not, right? And are you experiencing sickness or are you sick is actually a different way of how you talk to yourself. And he was like, it was this winter, and he had kind of had some like snuffles or whatever, and he's like, Mom, yeah, I just get adjusted, and like the next day I feel totally fine. And then I think that's like maybe it's not how I grew up or how we grew up thinking about that, but like just full trust in himself, right? And that was one of those moments where I was like, as a parent, that's what I just want him to believe that as he's, and it's not even about chiropractic, right? It's his body to like, yeah, like I'm totally fine the next day.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to be like. It's easier to say that for someone else than for ourselves. And there's a lot of humility in that, like in being able to speak life on someone else. But you guys, everyone here knows my last year then too, right? Like, can you actually convince yourself of something? Or are you really trying to force it on yourself then too?
Yeah. I mean, and just calling myself out too, like, as a parent, again, I do catch myself, and Drew always too, we try and be better about this, but especially raising boys, it's like, I find myself like, oh, be careful. Oh, watch out. Oh, you might get hurt. Like, you know what I mean? And I catch myself now, like, what am I telling them? I'm programming them, and I don't mean program in such like a weird way, but I'm like, again, you're putting those thoughts and beliefs, and I catch myself trying to rephrase things because I don't want them to go into the world as like a total danger zone. Like, you know what I mean? Because they are so open when they're little. It's like they don't care if they're jumping off from a tree. Like, to them, it's like they don't know the consequences. Again, as a parent, you're like, there's a good part of that. You want them to have a little bit of like scanning for danger, but there's also that line of like too much of a good thing or too much of a bad thing. You know what I mean? So that is something that I truly have had to work on over the last couple of years. And even just, I have known about the first 7 years of their life where I'm like, oh my gosh, he is coming up on 7 years. And I'm like, what happens after that? You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, take a breath and just like relearning how to like take a step back and rephrase what I'm trying to teach my children or what I'm trying to like actually program them. So that they have a better outlook on life. That again, it's not just strictly threat, danger, that they're open to life. So,
as we think about why chiropractic and how it plays into what we're actually talking about, again, I use analogies a lot, and I hope that they help. Let's say that we're in our kitchen back here, or your kitchen at home, and you got your coffee maker plugged in, and you're making smoothies at the same time, and everything's going, and that outlet turns itself off, right? Great, you could probably help me with this because you're an actual electrician. But if there's too much input on that plug-in, it stops, right? And no matter how many times I take something in and out and plug it back into that outlet, it's not going to work until I go to the electrical box, press it off, and then back on. Everyone with me on that? Does that make sense? That's why we actually get adjusted.
yeah.
I don't even know my terms are right, but it made so much sense in my head. When you get adjusted, it's that resetting of the control box for wherever the electricity is going. Does that make sense? Right? So we can keep hammering away at our coffee machine and wondering why it's not working. It's because the actual control system, our brain, is having an overload of stress back to it, and it just says, I'm done. Right? And when I went back earlier, was saying that like chiropractic isn't designed to cure anything but help. It's designed to help your body get to a state of healing. Let's say that we have an overburdened or disease state of a liver dysfunction, right? You can do all the supplements, all the whatever, and I believe like there's absolutely a place for that, right? You can do everything under the sun for it. But if that control system of the energy going to it is off, it's gonna be that much harder to get to a state of healing. Does that make sense? You can do all the like amazing things, and they're like, we believe in them, right? But if that system isn't functioning properly and it's too stressed out, the control box says, I'm done with that for the time being. I'm too stressed out. The chiropractic adjustment itself is designed to be that interrupt in it and say, hey, please work again. We've got you. Our stress is down. It's that signal back to the brain saying, we've got this. Does that make sense? So again, you sometimes it's like the kind of the canned line is, oh, there's an adjustment for that. And in my head, it's like, I mean, yeah, it does make sense though, right? And it's like when you have these people that are dealing with infertility, that they can get pregnant as they're receiving chiropractic care, people that have constipation that improves as they're getting adjusted, it's like there's no like bone that you actually adjust specifically for that one organ to work better. Like there's a mirror chart where it goes towards it, right? But in general, it's that you're getting more to a healing state to allow things to function again. Does that make sense? And as you stay in a sympathetic mode and you stay in that stressed out mode, the survival mode, Your body doesn't want to do all the other things. Make sense? Okay. I think I have a spam call in my ear.
Yeah, I was gonna
so
say,
my,
I saw
my
it.
head is like going off right now.
I saw it beep
So I
blue,
was
and I'm
like,
like,
the reason why the
what's
pause
going
was that I had a call coming in.
I did see it go blue, and I'm like, oh, you might have something going on.
So, and what's weird about where we've gotten to with chiropractic and how we talk about it is that subluxation became this like controversial topic of it, can you research it or can you not? So the actual term subluxation means lux is light in Latin terms. Lux means light. So less than light to the organs. That's what it means in my mind's eye. So you have too much stress not allowing a light out to the organs that you're sending a message to. Does that make sense? So it's like if I were to, I'm not next to our if I turn the light on and it's fully on, all the light is to it. Sublux would be dimmed down.
Right, like there's still
Does that have a
some,
dramatic
but
effect
it's
as I
not.
say that?
Yeah.
It's not all the way off. It's that what should be all the way turned up is dimmed down because we have too much stress in that area of the body. Does that make sense? So again, it's not. It's that like when people are getting adjustments, yes, it's like those organs or those nerves do go out to your adrenals, and as you get adjusted, it helps your adrenals function better. But the overall state is to allow your brain to say, "I'm calmer. I'm in a better state of ease. I can get into a healing state overall." Does that all make sense? When people grasp this, it's like this is why like kids get adjusted. This is why people continue on wellness care because they understand the bigness of it, not just hoping that this one adjustment removes 45 years of pain. That's not how it works. And the same thing goes for like most healthy habits take repetition. And we wonder, why do I keep working out? It's like, well, we just need movement. We need things to keep improving and not just waiting that one workout is going to solve everything for the rest of my life. If I said that to you as a personal trainer, you'd be like, that guy is crazy. But we believe in that in chiropractic. People come in here once and want every single malady they've ever had in their entire life to change, and it's like, I'm not Jesus Christ, right? We don't. That's not what the design is to get you to a state of healing, so your body can work with you, not against you. I kind of just went over this then too, but when we talk about like when you meet people, you meet them where they're at in their life, whatever stress they've been through. There actually was someone that came here recently that, man, it was heavy on my heart when they left because they had been through things in their 20s and now in their 30s it was overwhelming. And I didn't know them or whatever else it was too, but you hear the story and you're like, okay, it was just that vicious cycle that you guys see on the screen, that kind of things just kept happening. And it took 10 years to look back and be like, oh my gosh, what happened to myself? Right? And so you have a stress that happens. It could be mental, it could be emotional. And one of the cool things you get to do as a chiropractor is I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not any of that, but things can start mental and emotional and become physical and vice versa. Right? And so we hold on to these things and they may seem small or minute at the beginning, but they turn into something physical because we've been holding on to them for so long. We get stressed out. We do this motion. We carry our stress here. We walk around like this, and then for however long, it becomes physical because I've been carrying this state of stress for far too long. Does that make sense? And so what we're looking to do is circumvent that system to stop that cycle, help your body get into a relax. Again, I keep saying those similar words, but a restful state to allow itself to heal. It's so interesting that people one of the interesting things is when people get started with care, let's say a couple starts together and one might improve before the other improves, and they're looking for that guarantee of when is it for me, when is it my turn. And it's like you're holding on to this idea of that like one Tuesday everything changes, and it very well could, but until you, as you're talking about with Maddie, until you actually like let go of those outcomes and let it be what it's supposed to be, that's when people actually turn that corner. It could be 5 days into care, or it could be 5 months, whatever that takes. But it's letting go and allowing your neurology to recircuit itself, so that power box to turn itself back on, not just stay in this state of like keep trying to plug it in, wondering why it's not working. Make sense? There's this. She actually is not even a chiropractor, and she's Australian, and she has I mean, just an absolute potty mouth. She curses like a sailor, and she has this very Australian accent. Her name's Heidi Havoc, and she's not a chiropractor, but she researches chiropractic stuff, and she lives in either Australia or New Zealand, and so there's not even that chiropractic isn't as like followed or as known over there, and she just fell in love with it, and she has these really great videos and these conversations on basically like what the actual intention of a chiropractic adjustment is, and I get on a soapbox about this so often, and I feel bad, but I think it's just the truth is that somewhere along the way, people were like, oh well, at some point in most people's lives they deal with back pain. We're going to build that to insurance. We're going to see people and build their care to insurance, and they're going to be able to perceive that, and then that's all that it is. That's all that we do. I think that's subluxating our own career, our chiropractic career, by just focusing on pain, because that's the easy thing to do. What's exciting is people level up with their health, and as you think about like someone like Gavin's story, you see these like great stories of people that it wasn't a back pain thing. It wasn't a neck pain thing, right? It was that his body was in a state of stress, and you remove that stress or dim down that stress, and his body responds incredibly beautifully. And we want people to see that that's capable rather than staying stuck in these really vicious cycles. Does that make sense? Um, this is a lot from Heidi Havoc then too. As you get adjusted, it actually reduces your cortisol levels. Again, it's not saying remove cortisol; it's that helping it re-regulate and not stay so spiked. Increases the parasympathetic rest and digest mode. It actually increases heart rate variability. Quick thing on that, and then I'm not digging too much into the other things here, but there's this company called Whoop, and they're like little bands that you wear. It looks like a watch, but there's no watch face on it, and it's all about health monitoring. And they partnered with a chiropractor out of Atlanta / the Southeast, and the school that I graduated from, and they monitor people's heart rate variability over time through care. And it was like I want to say over 85% of the patients that took place in this, and it wasn't athletes, it was all walks of life, had this dramatic increase in heart rate variability that basically shows your adaptability to stress, right? And so again, it's not these people that are really peak performers that are trying to make the Olympics. It's people on everyday walk of life noticing that I'm at more of an ease. I don't take on stressors so much and allow them to just overwhelm. That's what we want.
Right. And like stress will happen, but you're able to easily move back into safety mode when you realize again that you're not in a life-threatening situation. You can kind of toggle back into the safety mode.
Last thing on this, it can get a little bit nerdy. Enhance prefrontal cortex. That's the frontal bone is right here. This is the front part of your brain. That is the decision making for your brain then too. I always loved it when we took boards and we had a big exam coming up, and we're in school, so we don't really like all know how to adjust all too well yet, and we're all like adjusting each other because like it's gonna make us like do a little bit better on our exam. But then it was like, well, I don't want you to do well because I want to pass you on the boards, and it's like I look back though, and like we were just so infatuated with the idea of like how do we perform better? What does it take? And it's not just again they just said the NFL Combine is and there's actually no chiropractors that were there to adjust these athletes. It's not just to run a 40-yard dash faster. It's to help people of all walks of life function better day to day. Last one is that we aren't like, it takes time, but we don't have to succumb to that for the rest of our life. Neuroplasticity is that your brain and your nervous system is plastic. It is moldable. It's not concrete, right? And so as we get this system to calm down and be more even, be more adaptable, your body can hold on to that and continue on and not stay in this mode of how do I even figure this out. Um, Again, I think we went over a lot of this already too, but just know that like what you do as far as people want to call it wellness care or maintenance care. And I don't really like that term maintenance because it's like maintaining or not having a symptom, but it's truly just that like you're unleashing your body's ability to be able to heal and adapt in real time. Great back.
Oh. Okay. Oh, the mystery.
Okay, I'm gonna say one more thing really
Yeah,
quick, and then we'll get into this.
No.
No, it's fine. And this is a self call out. So this time last year, I had these I'd wake up and I still got to do my thing, right? Like going over like the things to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I'll get into that in a second.
What?
But
Yeah,
like
we're almost.
when I dig into this, I want people to realize, like, again, a self call out is that like I was so afraid of being sick again that I would do these things that I thought were good for me with the hope that that one thing was what was going to change all of my outcomes. So I would be like trying to meditate and I'd be like breathing like this. And I was, oh, I did it. I did that for myself. And the whole time I was so stressed out that it didn't even, I'm not saying it didn't matter, but I'm saying it wasn't changing my nervous system. So some of these cues that we're going to get into is actually changing how your body receives that information from your own brain, not staying so stressed out. But go ahead here.
No, the mystery word. So, all of you guys being here, you automatically get a 20% off coupon for a one-time item. And then for anyone that is watching the recording or the replay or whatever, again, the mystery word is belief. And so they can come in the month of March and cash in a 20% off coupon for one item, again, for the month of March. Sound good? Cool.
I have a birthday in March.
Oh, then you can cash in a 50% off too. Two separate items there. Okay, so we have gone through a lot of like the why this matters for your health overall, but we do want you to walk away with some tools and just some simple practices that, again, we don't want to add all these little things to your life that, again, Drew was just talking about, like, okay, it's one more thing on the checklist to do, and like, is this the one thing that's going to help me? It's like, these are just hopefully things that if you gravitate towards them and start to implement them, like if it really resonates with you, again, they are ways that you can move your body into more of a rest and digest state, especially if you're feeling like, okay, I am like really high strung right now. Like, what are a couple practices that I know and that I can put into my day that will help me to just like ease back in and remind myself like I am safe, I'm okay, we'll figure this out, right? So
it's like, again, and we'll actually go over it, but it's like having to be on your phone while doing like red light therapy. I think that's kind of the like moot point, right? It's like I'm doing this, but also I'm checking my emails and I'm scrolling on social media and I'm doom scrolling about the recent news. It's like, hey, I'm not sure that's where we actually want this to be. So there's some different things that I use that have actually helped me and change that. Not like do it and then walk away and still be like stressed out then too. There's either 4, 7, 8 breathing, or the box breathing is the easiest one to get used to because it's easy to remember. Box meaning 4, 4, 4, 4. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Does that make sense? And I again I do this and it's like I want to be in a state that I actually do that well, not like I have to do it really quick. And because like for me, I don't know what everyone's different like processes are for this, but I'll do this in the morning before like the boys get up, and it's like this morning I do this like you guys would laugh at me, and it's okay to laugh at me. I do this lymphatic movement thing where you like do these like body waves. So I'm downstairs doing body waves, and Isaiah walks down. He's like, "Hey, Dad, you want to play soccer?" And it's like I feel like I just got caught red-handed as I'm like doing these like random motions in the morning. But just being in a state that you actually do it well, not like swing off of your work computer and then knock it out quick and act like it did everything for you. Does that make sense? So box breathing is 4 in, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. Vagus nerve activation. Some of the best things you can do for your vagus nerve is not being on your phone as we do there's a lot of things here, but not being on your phone with everything that we do. When's the last time we ate without looking at our phone or watching a video or watching TV? People taking their phones into the bathroom. That sounds like TMI, but that's a real thing, right? You have to scroll while you're using the bathroom, whatever else it is too. One thing that actually has gotten to be really popular is and again, maybe TMI, I don't know, is taking a shower with the lights off or like safe. Like don't be tripping over things. But taking a shower without like really sharp lights on you allows like there's actually like a safety thing for your body. So like dim down lights, and allowing your body to get into a state of like wholeness, right? I think a lot of health has turned into this whole idea of like biohacking. I have to sauna, I have to do a cold plunge, I have to do all these things. It's like, what if a lot of what we're going to talk about is slowing down as much as is adding more? I think it's much more common in our culture to add more to my plate rather than I'm comfortable slowing down. And what does that actually feel like? Does that make sense? So sometimes activating your vagus nerve is just figuring out how to slow down and not carry the weight of the world on your shoulders too. Um, and again, I please laugh at me. It's okay to laugh at me. It's getting warmer out, and so I'm in our like grass with bare feet, doing like in the morning, doing this like lymphatic jumping thing, and it probably looks ridiculous, but it works for me. I'm sure our neighbors laugh at me then too. But those are things like just again, you can go and get the really fancy CrossFit or yoga membership and do all this stuff. But if you are like, and this because this is something that I do. Maybe nobody else does this, but it's like I have 40 minutes. I'm gonna drive and work out for 30 minutes and quickly get into a change and get back in my car and then go on with my day. And the entire time I'm already drained, right? And I wonder why I didn't feel good after that workout. So I'm not saying working out is bad. Please do that. If that's the motion that feels really good for you, that's what it should be. But if we're already burning all the bridges to go do said thing and we wonder why we don't feel well, that's a big component to what health actually looks like, right? So maybe it is a walk. Maybe it is like a slower movement pattern as much as it is like I have to do this really exertional thing for me to have health.
And yeah, just the like small increments of time is perfectly fine, right? You don't have to do it for, an hour or 2 hours or spend all this time, meditating or whatever. It's just like small little increments or reminders throughout the day is the best practice. Like if you want to set a reminder and just be like, you know what, I'm going to check my breathing at noon and set your timer and just like do a little body scan, which I guess I'll talk about in a second.
There's this thing that we again, and I'll let you go here too. But there's this thing. It was a joke in high school, but you would say like, "Touch grass, bro." Like you need to calm down. And like actually, Richard goes, so that's actually really good to do. Like if I like leave here for 20 minutes, just go for a walk without my phone, without anything on me, I just am like, oh, I forgot what I was so worried about 20 minutes ago. That's the state we want to be in, as much as it is like I need to put myself at level 10 of exertion to get this to be right. That makes sense.
Okay, so just reframing your self-talk. Again, it's not necessarily just positive, you know, positive wishful thinking or anything like that. It's like you just want to create awareness of like what type of thoughts and beliefs you are holding, and try and reframe. And many might be really good. Obviously, I'm not saying you have only negative thoughts, but again, creating that awareness of like, okay, what's serving me and what's not, and then what parts do I want to change, and then reframing that in a more positive, empowering way. So some examples would be like, I'm falling apart. You want to shift that to my body is communicating with me and it's adapting. I never get better to every day my body is healing and getting stronger. I'm so stressed. You want to rephrase that to, I'm learning to re-regulate, and that's okay. Like I'm going to be patient with myself. I'm going to be kind to myself while I'm learning to re-regulate. And if you guys have anything specific too, like that you're dealing with that really struggle with, and it's just a repetitive like narrative, and you feel comfortable sharing it with Drew or Maddie or myself, we're happy to help you kind of like reframe that, right? Like, okay, what's a better way to view this in a more positive light, right? The evidence log is basically the idea, and gratitude log too, which I guess I can obviously talk about in a second, but the evidence log is basically just trying to remind yourself and show you evidence of positive things that are happening in your life. And so, again, if we have more of a negative bias, if we are always scanning for threat or danger, you want to create evidence of the contrary. So, each night, I would say you could write down something that your body did well, a piece of evidence that you're healing, or a sensation of ease or comfort or vitality that you've experienced. With this too, like if you're in the thick of it and you're like, man, I'm just really struggling here, like nothing's really good. It doesn't have to be something specific. It could just be more broad, right?
It needs to be real. It needs to be something tactile that you actually feel. That's something that you like hope that one day that you feel.
Well, yes, but it could, like the broad sense, like it could just be something like, you know what, I know I woke up and my lungs are breathing, my stomach's digesting food. I don't have to tell it to do that, so I'm trusting in the wisdom of my body. You know what I mean? So it can be more broad of like, yes, I am just trusting in the bigger picture here versus like I woke up and I was able to crush this workout and I had an appetite or whatever, something more specific. So again, you want to like physically write it down and kind of like take it in, to remind yourself that there are good things happening in your life, and whether it's your health or again, you can apply it to any sort of topic. in your life too. The gratitude journal would kind of be another example of this, of just gratitude and appreciation is one of the highest frequencies and vibrations that we can emit on an emotional level. And so I think it's really important to start your day and end your day that way. Because again, you want to set the tone for the day, and then you want to obviously end the day before going to bed in a more eased state, like Drew was talking about. And so that's always another option too, is a gratitude journal. Affirmations, the with emotion. So affirmations, you know, people talk about this all the time, and you don't, it's not just reciting words. You genuinely want to feel it. So I would suggest having like one or two words or one or two phrases or affirmations, but nothing more. Like you don't want a whole list of them. And you want to genuinely feel what it's like to have what you desire, right? Like, again, my nervous system knows how to heal, or I am safe and my body can relax. That's like, you want to sit in that, and again, not have a whole list of them. It's like I'm going to pick this affirmation because that's what I need right now. And you want to sit in what it's like to truly feel safe, to feel ease, to feel confident, to feel secure, and know that your body can relax, right? And you want to like just take that in. Creating a healing environment. Again, your environment, both physical, mental, and social, can really either help you or hurt you based on, again, who you're surrounding yourself, what you're actually intaking. So some things that you can ask yourself to create awareness for what it is that you're surrounding yourself with. What am I consuming? Whether it's the food or drink, media. Obviously, that's a big one in just like mainstream media and in social media. What am I actually taking in, and the conversations, the people I surround myself with. Who am I spending time with? Are they energy suckers or are they energy supporters, right? And your body knows, like if you're really honest with yourself, you know at a deep level, like that actually felt really good to like spend time with this person, or it's like no, like we just don't jive, and it's like it's more depleting than it is helpful. And then what am I exposing my mind to? Again, news, social media. Social media does get a bad rap, and I think that yes, there is a huge negative aspect to it, but I think you can curate it in a way that actually is life giving. Like there's many times where I'm on there and it's like I find things that like bring me a lot of joy and like laughter. Like I might find a couple reels that like I am crying because I'm laughing so hard. You know what I mean? And like it actually brought me a lot of joy to see that video or to relate to something. So you do want to, small changes, big impact. You want to limit that stuff. And again, curate it in a way of like only follow things that bring you life, right? Like bring you joy and bring you laughter. So you can delete things that really don't serve you, or serve your more positive outlook on life. And you definitely want to limit it in the morning and before bedtime. Again, you want to set that tone for both your day and your night. You want to curate your environment. Your physical, like your senses, are always taking things in, right? Your eyes, your ears, all of that is taking things in. So the music you're listening to, the lighting, at night, it's like I do like ambience. I like to like dim the lights because your body's getting ready for nighttime, and so all of that does affect the way that you feel, right? And so nature, beauty, things that make you feel good, you want to make your environment suited for that. Surround yourself with people that obviously support you and your desired outcomes, right? Whether it's your health or again your relationships, all of that stuff. And then creating a good morning routine that signals safety, right? We want to continue to remind the body and bring it into safety mode. Even if you have a stressful day, you want to again bring it back to like I am safe, and you want to signal the body. And then just like a quick practice that you can do again in the morning or at night. Find a quiet space. I know as a mom that's really hard, especially with the changing of sleep schedules all the time. So it doesn't have to be like, again, a whole hour long. It could be literally 2 minutes. And if you can just have the kids go away for 2 minutes, have the dad take them, lock them out for a second. It's like, okay, do 30 seconds of deep breaths, right? Like do a breathing exercises like the box breathing, do a body scan, create awareness for areas of your body that you might have tension. And honestly, like thank it. Like don't have judgment, appreciate that, and just thank your body for communicating with you. And again, it could be areas that feel really good or areas that again have some tension. You can do an affirmation and a visualization. And again, with this, I would pick like one word that really connects with you or one phrase and attach an emotion to it, or a visualization of like you running on the beach, just like fully healthy, glowing, vibrant, like living like how, like the affirmation that you want. Like, how does it feel to have your desired outcome or your desired health or whatever it is? And then always end with gratitude and appreciation, because again, that is one of the highest frequencies that we can emit. So, lastly, you can go through this real quick.
No, it's just like and again, I'm using this word a lot, but the intentionality behind your care, right? Like, what are you actually getting out of your care here? You guys are all awesome. I'm not here to. This is not a call out or whatever, but like, just understand like this. Hey, this is my time in the week where I slow down, I breathe, I get adjusted, and I move at a different state out of here than I came in here. So that's so often, and I get it. Like, I'm on my phone too sometimes, so it's not like whatever, but it just is like when you walk in and a patient is like sitting in the corner on their phone, and they're like, "Oh, hey." That's different than like I'm sitting or I'm laying down and I'm ready to be adjusted and I've put all that in the corner. Like, like I get it. Like, phones have their place, but like there's something to like the calming of like everything is to the side. Even when you adjust people and they have their like Apple Watch on and like that they want to look at it so bad, right? That's a different that puts you into a state differently than when you came in here and you have everything. And again, everyone can wear. I'm not gonna like take stuff away, right? But if you get a buzz about some work email or some text that's gonna stress you out, like it's tough to get back into a healing state when you're like, oh my gosh, that email is due in 2 minutes, right? So yeah, there's nothing like earth shattering with this, but it's just like be intentional about your care here. About like when you're on the vibe plate, it's so easy to like check your phone and be here. And again, I do that, right? I check my phone and I'm sitting, I'm like, put it back down, right? And so when you're on that, you can do breathe, you can do different things where you're actually serving your body more rather than just like getting right back. Like I leave the room and I get right back to the state I came in. And how do we shift our state to stay there rather than just like, oh, back in my car, back to stress, walk out of here differently than you came into.
Right. So in closing, the biggest thing we want you to walk away with is just remembering that like you actually do have a huge power and influence over your health, right? And it really does start in your mind and in your heart of like what type of thoughts you hold, what type of beliefs you hold, how you regulate yourself throughout the day, and just the practices that you put into your day to really again align with the types of outcomes that you want for you and your families, right? And it's not just fluffy talk, it's not woo woo stuff. It's like this really is, it's researched and it's neuroscience and it's backed, and it really does have an understanding of how the mind affects your biology at a cellular level. And again, it's not just theory. It's like this it is real. And so that is the biggest thing that we want our patients. It has to be part of your care, right? It has to be a part of your health journey. Is your mindset. You have to believe in your ability to heal, right? And so lastly, so our challenge would be, or our proposal to you, again, it's like we don't want to add anything to your life, but and in a stressful way. But again, we want to help you have like use one of these tools to really move the needle for yourself in whatever season of life that you're in right now. So pick one thing for the next 7 days, whether it's the box breathing or an affirmation that you really feel like you're connected to right now, or a word. Maybe it's the gratitude journal, or the vagus nerve of like humming or singing. Like set an alarm on your phone, whether it's the morning or at noon or whatever, and just remind yourself to kind of touch back into your body, and to reset basically.
Personally, like my goal, if you guys want to steal this one, that's totally fine. It's nothing like, again, it's just a good reminder. It's easy to check my phone at night before I go to bed. It's like leaving my phone in a different room and having a notebook before I lay down next to the bedstand rather than a phone. Right? That's that's better for our health overall for EMFs, but also as like, again,
Yep.
resetting our brain to write about what we're thankful for from the day, not like, oh, let me check on this right before I go to bed. Changes that, right?
What's the body scan yet?
The body scan,
Yeah.
like this body scan meditation. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
It's
just
not
like
an actual scanner.
Yeah.
It's like it's you taking a scan and inventory of your own body.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Like almost like the daily practice that I was talking about, of like you do some breath work and then you kind of check in with your body of like, where am I holding tension? What actually, like, what feels better today or whatever, and kind of breathe into that space and just visualize healing happening there. So again, if you are holding a lot of tension, it's in a place, or again, you might have, if you are experiencing an illness or something like that, it's like you concentrating on that area in a positive healing way, like sending it love essentially. And I know again that sounds weird, but it's like doing a body scan and just like thanking your body for being amazing and for doing the healing work and visualizing it being healthy and well. Does that make sense?
One of the Joe Dispenza meditations is this like top down breathing technique, and I actually envision it like, I don't know if you guys ever been in an MRI tube, but how you go into an MRI tube and how you literally like it scans down your body this way. I think about what I think with this breathing technique where you start and say, hey, you know, I got a receding hairline. I'm gonna fully admit that, but I'm thankful for the hair that I do have. And then I go to my eyes, and then I go to my nose. And I'm thankful for my hearing, and I'm thankful for what I have. And you like literally scan down your body. So it's not, don't go. You don't. I'm not saying you have to go do an MRI. I'm saying it's like a literal mental like check in and a scan of your own body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and then just what's next is obviously as our VIP or ambassadors, our wellness gang, our next event is June, and it's for a little field day to Grade A Gardens. So does anyone know Grade A Gardens? No? They have it's an organic regenerative farm in Earlham, Iowa, so maybe 15-20 minutes away. And we love supporting them. They're a really awesome family and do a really great job as an organic farm here in Iowa.
Is that the one where it's like on honor? You just put the money in?
Yeah,
So
they
it's
do have a
like
little,
even
they have a shed that you can go to on like, I don't know whether it's daily or we've gone on like Sundays when we're doing like grocery, and you can go and just put some cash in and grab your eggs or your honey or whatever it is. Yeah.
On honor system.
Yep. So they're awesome. And so we are going to go there in June, which obviously we've talked to Whitney and Jordan about it. It's just a matter of like, we don't know the date and time based on weather and whatnot. So we are going to go kind of get like a tour of their farm, and they do have cows and chickens and stuff like that. So we'll get kind of a tour, and then obviously potentially get our hands dirty. We can help in any way. I told them like we'd love to like, whether it's they're still planting some things or weeding or harvesting. They are at the downtown farmers market every weekend, so obviously they have a lot of picking to do throughout the week. And so yeah, it's family friendly. So I know obviously lots of kiddos. Please bring them. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have the kids and like get their hands dirty and just like, you know, have a fun outdoor experience, right? And like I said, we love to support them. They do a really great job with just again local businesses that we like to support. So that is in June, and we'll give you more of an update when it gets a little bit closer when we talk to Whitney and kind of decide on a date and a time. Golden ticket, you guys again are unlimited golden ticket holders. So what that means is just anyone that you guys feel, again, you guys are awesome patients. So anyone you guys feel that could truly benefit from chiropractic care, just nervous system regulation, or just coming in and just like, you know, anything, if they just need to meet with us and just get a reset on their mindset, you know what I mean? Like they are more than welcome to come in with a golden ticket for a complimentary visit. That would include their consultation, exam, any necessary x-rays if they choose that they want to do that, and an adjustment. And then of course we'll lay everything out for them, and they can decide. It's a no pressure, no strings attached. It's just our way of like, we want to be able to help people, and we want people to know that we're here for them, and they can decide if we're a good fit for them. Does that make sense? So if you guys ever have anyone that you have in mind, whether it's a family or a coworker or whatever it is, you can always tell one of us, and then we'll have golden tickets up here. There is an expiration of 2 weeks on there, and again, that's just to help them, you know, so it's just not, they're just not out there. You know what I mean? So there is technically a 2-week expiration on that. And then of course tonight, if you guys want to cash in your 20%, that's tonight or anytime in the month of March. So Maddie will be up there to help if you do want to grab anything tonight. But other than that, how do we do on time?